Hey, good to have you with us on the Randy Karraker Show, presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. This is Matthew Rocchio. I am Randy Karraker. It's great to have you with us.
That's a pumpkin.
And that is a pumpkin.
It's
and
October.
We've got some gourds. We're looking a little fallish here.
Wait.
Maybe a little pumpkin spice action. Are those not gourds?
Are these just not tiny pumpkins?
No, they aren't tiny pumpkins. No. I think those are called
What
gourds.
the hell's I thought a gourd... I think I'm confusing.
I'll hold it up to the camera.
I think I'm confusing gourds with cornucopias. Is this really what a gourd is?
I believe so.
It's just not a tiny pumpkin.
Yep. Chat in.
I'm bothered by this. I don't like this. This makes me mad. I was bothered by the.
It's definitely not a tiny pumpkin.
I was bothered by the decoration, and now I'm bothered even more by the terminology.
Okay. Happy Halloween month, says Bubs. Happy Halloween month to you. Happy October 1st. Can we not play the song September anymore now? Question.
You can always play the song September.
Yep.
It's a perfect song.
Time to talk hockey, City SC, and football. Cards baseball talk is done. Okay. I'll talk a little cards baseball, okay? Chaim Bloom, I think you're going to be great. I'm a fan of Chaim Bloom, like him already. That being said, Chaim Bloom has never gone out and signed Broberg and Holloway. Holloway scored a couple of goals last night. Broberg scored a goal last night. Doug Armstrong is still the best general manager / Pobo in town at the moment. All due respect.
Listen, high definition. I put the first two topics on the list are Blues topics, and that's for you, high definition. But you got to understand the world you're living in. And on STL Sports Central, we have 2 daily programs. And in fact, and technically, we only really have 1 daily program. But we have 2 what most people would view as daily programs, which is we have the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley, and we have Cards Central 365. This is a network that talks Cardinals every single day because those people out there, the ones in the cars next to you when you're driving to work, the people who you share your grocery store with, these maniacs want to hear about the Cardinals every day.
Yeah, every day.
Just think about that when you're out there thinking, wow, what a lovely city. They all live here. Just saying.
No doubt about it. I got to clean my glasses here while we're working. I used to do this on the radio, and it was never.
No one would know. No one ever would have known.
I could do stuff. I could read a book, and while we were doing the show, and nobody ever noticed. Now people notice.
I always thought you told people that you weren't very smart, and yet there you are, just like bumping through Proust, right, while you're trying to talk about the NFL as well. And
you're trying to do multiple things. You're trying to be a multitasker, as it were. So
I'm sorry, high definition, but there will be Cardinals talk.
But Holloway with a couple of goals, Kyrou with a couple of assists. Pujols also had an assist. That second line looking really good. Although the Blues, Matthew, they don't have a win yet. So I don't know how good Armstrong really can be if he hasn't put together a team that has a win. I mean, don't you have to? Monty has to be on.
You're not gonna get me to fall for this. I wrote the title, and Winless has an asterisk for a reason.
Oh, there we go.
I don't care. There was a part of me when Dallas shot back at the end of the game and scored 2 pretty quick goals that I was like, oh man, is there gonna be a problem with the defense? And then I quickly was like, no, Matt, stop thinking like an idiot. It doesn't matter.
No. And still guys out on the ice that you will not see a week from
that as well.
Tomorrow. A week from tomorrow is the opener for your St. Louis Blues. Looking forward to that season.
But let's focus on, I guess, what we and take away what we can from the game, which is they talked about they were going to give Pujols a chance at the second line centering Holloway and Kyrou. Yep. My big question was, are you going too offensive heavy and not giving them that 200-foot grit that Braden Shen gives them? And I think we're seeing here in the second line the overall kind of axioms of the last 5 years of the NHL play out in front of our eyes, which is the rest of the league figured speed and full-on offensive pushes on certain lines is the way to build your team now. And the Blues have been getting to that. And I think Pujols might be the guy that finally unlocks that super offensive scoring. You're never going to put him in. You're never going to start him, to lock down another team's first line, but they're going to be problematic. And I think that potentially is Holloway, Suter, and Kyrou.
I read a quote from Daryl Sutter last season. I thought it was a really good point. He said that these days in the NHL, you don't play defense without the puck. You play defense by having the puck.
Yes, because the offensive players are so skilled that if they have the puck, they're going to eventually score.
And they aren't giving it up. because they're just so hard on the puck. It's really hard to play defense without the puck these days. It's a puck possession game, and that's why a guy like Suter, who is a good puck possessor, we all know about what Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway can do. So I think that this Blues team is going to be good in large part because of that, because that top line is going to be able to possess the puck. The second line should. I think the key to this team, well, one of the keys, not the key, but one of the keys is going to be how that third line performs. Is that group capable of being better than last year? Because I said this a lot last year.
Who are you projecting right now as your third line, you think?
Well, Schenner and Neighbors are
Shen,
two,
Neighbors, and then whoever the third line winger comes out as.
There's a myriad ways you can go. But last year, I thought the Blues' third line was closer to a fourth line. I think this group is closer to a second line.
Does that still worry you potentially that Shen, a little bit older, Neighbors, probably the only knock on him is his foot speed. And if Lucic is the guy, he's a guy who's obviously never had a lot of speed. Does a slow line like that in an era again of fast hockey, does that worry you?
Yeah, it does. But the one thing that we know that group can do is hang on to the puck. And they're going to be gritty, and you need grit, and that's going to be a matchup game for Jim Montgomery. And I don't think there's anybody in the league right now better at the matchup game than Jimmy Montgomery.
I do think it's interesting the way you're talking about hockey and how playing offense is having or playing defense is having the puck.
Isn't
now.
That interesting?
Well, it's fascinating to me because it sounds, you can't do it in basketball because there's a shot clock. But the idea that essentially if the other team is able to set up their offense and play in that and with the ball, eventually we can't do anything to stop them because the speed and the athleticism, we can't close the door on these guys from getting into the dangerous areas. It's a lot of the issue that happened in basketball, which is the offensive players got so good that defensive players were like, unless we completely sell out in every way, shape, and form, we're not stopping these guys most of the time. And it's interesting to me what is going to be hockey's reaction to that. And is it more physicality from the defenders? And does NHL try to legislate that back out of the game? Do they keep opening things up for the ice? Because we know the NHL wants it. And I'm just interested to see kind of how the push and pull is over the years.
Yeah. And you remember, because you kind of taught me a couple of years ago in the first year of City SC, especially when they lost in the playoffs to Sporting Kansas, there was a belief, and it came to be true, that St. Louis City SC was better playing their system without the ball than with the ball, right?
Yeah, it was a weird thing. Yeah, it was insane.
But it happened.
But yeah, true.
So if your third line is Shen, Bugstad, and Neighbors, I love the grit. Yes, I would like to have more speed, but I don't know that anybody else is. Well, some teams will have significantly more speed, but on that third line, I think that might be what the league is. That might be pretty close to what the rest of the league is on the third line. If you're playing that group on your second line, then you don't have enough speed.
Yeah, you guys won't be shocked. We've been positive. We've been excited about the Blues because, I mean, how can you not be? When you watch Holloway, when you watch Kyrou making a play like that, and that's the kind of play that Kyrou makes, spinning off the boards like that and just rifling it into Holloway with almost like a sixth sense, eyes in the back of the head kind of motion. It's that kind of play from Jordan Kyrou. It's not just the speed. It's not just that his 200-foot game's developing. It's that when a player hits, this is why players entering their prime is something we talk about and why it matters, because just the physical, if you do the regimens that pro teams give you, even to the slightest bit, you will be a much stronger as a 27-year-old, 28-year-old than you were at 24. That's a play I think Kyrou doesn't make 2 or 3 years ago because he doesn't hold on to the puck. He doesn't. His body control and his balance isn't at the ability to take the hit, take the bounce off the wall, and still have that coordination. That's why I can't see any reason why we don't see a lot of these young players and a lot of these players entering their prime take jumps this year for the Blues, because everything tells us they will.
Tell me about my thought with Jordan Kyrou. I think perhaps the best thing that ever happened to him was when he got the bad response after he said what he did about Craig Berube, when he said, he's not my coach anymore. Then he got booed here. And I think he probably woke up a little bit because the fans said, we don't care if you're here. And he really does want to be here. And I think that was a maturing moment for him when he said, yeah, he's not my coach. And then all of a sudden it turned into a story and a big I don't know if it was a brouhaha, but it was certainly a kerfuffle.
Yeah, it definitely leaves kerfuffle levels. I think that's fair.
And I think he's been a better player ever since then.
Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of, I shouldn't say athletes. We all need those moments when we're growing up. I remember I remember the last time that I slept through an alarm to be late to work, like in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the last time that happened.
When?
It was, oh God, I would have been 20. I would have been 2015, I want to say. So I'd have been like 2 years out of college. I would have been like 23 or 24. And I just haven't been like full on like waking up after like with like 5 minutes to get to work, or like waking up after work already started that kind of late. Like that hasn't happened since I was, but I remember the last time it happened because I was like, this can never happen again. This is beyond the pale. And so it's not just athletes. All of us have those moments that say, all right, we got to kind of lock back in. And hell, some of us are kind of people who need those every like 18 months or so.
Yeah. So there you go. Hashtag LGB. Okay. Dateline Los Angeles. The name of the publication, The Athletic. The Angels may look to a very familiar face for their next managerial hire. Longtime MLB superstar Albert Pujols is believed to be the leading choice for the job for Angels owner Artie Moreno, according to league sources. And they're telling The Athletic such. Moreno, the ultimate decision maker for the Angels' next managerial hire, holds Pujols in high regard. One source close to the former slugger suggested the decision may be Pujols to make. Okay, so there were a lot of people up in arms yesterday when it was announced after the Chaim Bloom press conference by Chaim Bloom that Ali Marmol would return as the Cardinals manager. I know there are people out there that don't like the idea of the Cardinals hiring a fourth consecutive manager with no major league managerial experience and another one without any managerial experience to speak of. It's kind of like Mike Matheny with the Little League thing. I won't call the Dominican team a Little League thing, but in terms of the number of games he's managed, it's probably similar or even less than. So what do you think, Matthew Rocchio, about the idea of Albert Pujols becoming the manager for a major league team that isn't the St. Louis Cardinals?
Oh, okay. Interesting. I mean, if it would have been any other team other than the Angels and other than the Cardinals, it would, I'd be shocked. But the fact that it's the Angels is not shocking in the least bit. I mean, it's just, yeah, he has a lot of relationships with all the people that he was there with for a decade or just short. What would have been 2012 through 2022? Yeah, it was about a decade. Yeah. So he was a decade on that side of LA, and obviously he was still in LA for another couple of years after that. So he knows all these people. He's connected to them, and where they're at in their lifetime of their franchise, they could use that shot in the arm with the risk of he's never managed before, more so than a team like the Cardinals could take right now, I think. And also when you connect to, I don't want Albert Pujols to manage a Cardinals team that wins 78 games. And that's probably what he would be doing if he took the place in 2026. Like I have already witnessed one time in my life, Albert Pujols leave the Cardinals, scar his legacy, and then maybe more so than we've ever seen in an athlete, repair it and even take it to a new height. There is no way I want to risk watching that movie a second time.
Why?
And that's the chance,
hired, right? Why
to get fired.
There you go.
And so, like, again, what happened with the Albert Pujols, just like reputation here in St. Louis. I know the people who hated him for going are only were minority, but still, it marred what could have been this perfect story. And so to get the topper we got, it was so perfect and was such a perfect instance of sports writing and playing out the stories in a better way than we ever could have thought of, that this is Albert Pujols managing the Cardinals is what I would describe as tempting fate. And I do not feel like tempting fate anymore when it comes to the legacy of Albert Pujols. I mean, we talk about it in the moment, but like just look at what happened in 2022 was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was.
And so don't risk it. Don't press that button. We got lucky. You just hit 4 blackjacks in a row. Pick up your money and walk away from the table. Walk away from the table. Always walk away from the table if you can.
I am with you there. All right. We also have some interesting comments, and I have I don't know. Well, let's start with this one. I would rather him coach there first and then hire Yachty after 26. Isn't Yachty waiting until after his child graduates? Yes, in Austin, Texas.
Yachty's also waiting until the Cardinals manager doesn't do 3 media hits every day.
And tell me what you like about Yachty or Molina's managerial and teaching style. I would just like to know.
He kicked that basketball when we didn't like the call. Well, like he took it from the refs and he kicked the ball.
Okay, I like that style. But in terms of managerial style, in terms of the way he'll handle the job, what do you like about it? What have you seen that you say, okay, Yadier Molina is going to be a really good manager and a really good teacher?
Well, Randy,
especially for a franchise that admitted yesterday, we're going to develop players at the major league level.
Can I get ahead of the chat that we will inevitably get?
Mm-hmm.
Randy, essentially, when you think about it, after 2011, starting in 2012, up through his retirement, Yachty essentially was managing the Cardinals from the field anyway. So, like, how different would it be?
Yeah, I don't know that he was. Well, I do know he wasn't teaching players how to be better. He wasn't.
Well, he also had a manager who said it wasn't his job to develop players either.
He did have that. Yeah. it was a different era.
Oh, okay, okay. So we're developing players with our head coaches now. Or managers?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We said that yesterday in the press conference, I believe.
I believe so, yes.
So, doobie-doo-doo. There we go. A lot of people are saying Bloom should have memorized or at least spoke from his heart. People didn't like that he read from a piece of paper. Are you kidding me?
I'm not doing this again.
Are you kidding me?
I got chided for being a smart ass about this yesterday. I'm not doing this again.
So, okay. I think there were things that he wanted to make sure that he said, you not you personally, but you, Cardinal Nation, got really upset last year when the Cardinals had their end of season press conference, and you felt like you weren't given a vision. You felt like you weren't given, and by the way, nobody last year had a piece of paper that they were reading from when they put together what they were going to tell you about for 2025. And at least in his mind, he didn't leave anything out. I don't know really what difference it makes, whether he read from a piece of paper or whether he came up and spoke from the heart. I can tell you this. I have no problem with public speaking. I can speak generally, extemporaneously. It's not very coherent at times, but I can do it. But some people aren't that comfortable with 25 cameras in the room and 50 people in the room. Some people are just not built to be public speakers, or some people just haven't done it an awful lot and aren't comfortable in knowing that they'll be able to remember everything they want to say. So they write it down. And I have no problem with that. That happens a lot. And he didn't have a teleprompter. There are, as a matter of fact, political candidates who lay out their vision. And let me tell you something. It's not coming from their heart. And sometimes if it does come from their heart, it lasts like 2.5 hours and it's a bunch of BS. So I have no problem with somebody coming up with thoughts and ideas to express and deliver a vision and then doing it that way rather than memorizing the speech. And then what if you forget something or somebody? I don't know what the big deal is about that. Do you?
He was laying out his plan to help rebuild the second most legendary franchise in this sport.
Mm-hmm.
If I was him, do you guys think about this stuff? Like, when you do something that's going to be on your gravestone, like that's what Chaim's dealing with yesterday. Like, if he is here and he has another 30-year term like John Mozeliak, that's what he's going to be known for in his life. Like, this is like, I know this might seem like overly grandiose and things like that, but like, seriously, like, if you're Chaim and you're thinking, how do I want to talk to the fans of St. Louis? I'm sure there's a lot of things going through your mind of I'm taking over one of the most legendary posts in baseball. Like, to his point, he talked about Branch Rickey.
Yeah.
Like, you have the job that guy had. The guy who's been in movies before because he changed baseball. You have the same job essentially he had for the same team. And so to say, like, I want to be as prepared as possible and come off as concise as possible, make sure that my vision is communicated to the fans. By the way, same fans who bitch about him writing from a speech will also be the ones who say that the Cardinals are bad at communicating to their fans. Well, he's trying to communicate better to the fans. And I like Skywalker 1982, who had a great line. By the way, I think I'm just now getting that Skywalker 1982. Is that a reference to the year that the last movie was released, or your date of birth? I've never really asked that question. I don't know why. Good thing DeWitt hired him to be a pobo, not a public speaker.
Yeah, really.
At the same, and also, but listen to, like, he didn't have the questions ahead of time. He spoke almost as long in answers to questions as he did in the totality of his opening comments, which were about 8-9 minutes. They did about 16 minutes of questions. And if you want to hear more off the cuff Chaim Bloom, you can go read Derek Gould, you can go read Katie Wu, you can go read Lynn Worthy, you can go read Brendan Schaefer on STL Sports Central, because they all had quotes from Chaim Bloom as well that were not pre-written. So there's some off the cuff stuff. In fact, one of the things we're talking about is an off the cuff comment from Chaim Bloom to the, not off the cuff, but a non-prepared comment, which is DFA'ing Nolan Arenado, quote unquote, not an option for the Cardinals.
That's fine. By the way, I texted the big man the other night, and I said, last 5 guys to run Cardinal baseball ops: Mo, Walt, Dal Maxfield, Joe McDonald, Whitey, have won pennants and 3 won championships. So no pressure.
You're a jackass. That's hilarious. You're a jackass. What a mean thing to text to him.
Yeah, he said, that's a pretty good list.
That's a pretty good list. Yeah,
pretty good list. So I get that. You know what? That has to be an ownership directive, though, because
maybe it was pre-written. My apologies.
Yeah, it could be. Because I think that most baseball people would at least consider that and have it as an option, because the guy, and granted, he, in the last couple of weeks, Arenado did hit a home run. And when he came back from his time off, he performed a lot better. But when you look at the season, it really was not good. And it certainly wasn't worth $31 million in cash over the next couple of years. Now, some of that money, the $42 million, $6 million is going to be deferred, so you still have to pay it eventually. And then $5 million comes from Colorado. That $42 million is what Arenado is due. And I hope I'm wrong about this, because he seems like a friendly sort, but I just don't see Arenado being able to rebound. He's going to turn 35 next year on April 16th. And in his last 3 seasons, and I've given these before, but since he finished 3rd in the National League MVP race, his OPSs have been 774, 719, and this year 666, which is really kind of scary. The fielding is very great, but if you look at what he did,
people are right. Cardinals devil magic does not hit like it used to.
Not what it was.
Does not hit like it used to. Good Lord.
So basically, what he is right now is, for those of us that remember, he's Ken Reitz. Ken Reitz was a great defensive third baseman, the Zamboni machine, and his career OPS was 649. And essentially, that is, sadly, what Nolan Arenado has become. I don't see him getting better. Do you see him rebounding and getting better at the age of 35?
I mean, how much do you buy the shoulder injury being the real issue over the last couple of years?
Then I think it's chronic, because he had that with the Rockies too. I get that could have been an issue, but does that cause? Well, maybe it does, but I don't know if it's going to get better. When you look at the home run totals since Arenado was 3rd in the MVP voting, and that year for the Cardinals, let's go back to 3rd in MVP. Yeah, that year he hit 30. He's gone from 30 to 26 to 16 to 12.
Here's the thing, and I'm just going to use a quote from Chaim Bloom yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He said that sometimes we have to make sacrifices for the long-term benefit. Sometimes we have to, while the goal is going to be to win consistently, we are going to have to make moves when we are faced with things in a decision whether to prioritize winning consistently or winning in the long term. We are going to have to make the decision to win in the long term over winning consistently. And again, we have to make these changes. So I feel like if you put it up against that rubric of does it get past that muster, simply not letting it be an option is out of the gates failing to enact your vision to the highest level, in my opinion, because this would be saying, eating the money would be saying, and taking a sacrifice for the good long-term goal, opening up third base, freeing up a spot for young players, freeing up everything in the future going forward, for lineup flexibility and positional flexibility. It's the better move for the future of the team.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the entire name of the game, why is it not an option?
And maybe it's as simple as, okay, getting rid of him in terms of releasing him is not an option, but maybe paying 21 of the 31 million and having another team take on 10 million, maybe that is an option. Maybe paying 34 million is an option. But again, 31 million in cash, I get that they have to make sacrifices, and maybe having him on the team is a sacrifice. I think it'd be a lesser sacrifice to actually not have him on the team than to have him on the team. And maybe you can find somebody to take him. You never know. There might be a team out there that'll take him.
I like this from Skywalker. I think you say that because you don't want trade partners to know that you would just DFA him.
Yeah, that's
good
true.
Point.
Yep,
that's a great point.
Yeah, you don't want to drop the market value, and it's not like there's a ton of market value out there. But you're right. You don't want somebody to just say, well, you know what? We'll just sign him for the minimum because we can do so if he gets released by the Cardinals.
If they ate the Arenado money, would they use it elsewhere? Because if not, I would rather him stay. Yeah, that's the thing with eating the money and why it's a question is that you don't spend it, because then you're not spending $2 for the every $1 that Arenado was here. He was costing you 21. You're not going to go out and re-spend that 21 or 21 per year.
And the way I've couched it is, and it might sound mean because it is, you can pay Nolan Arenado to not be here and do nothing for you, or you can pay him to be here and do nothing for you.
Bubs, I think what Chaim meant was that the Cardinals are going to be about the same plus or minus 10 wins for the next few years, but they won't be competing for more than a wild card in the near future. I don't really know how you get that from Chaim, because for the next few years, we won't be competing for more than a wild card in the near future.
It's impossible.
I feel like a wild card, but like the goal isn't to just compete for the wild card. So, man, plus or minus 10 wins is a pretty huge fluctuation.
You don't have to be a great team to compete for the wild card.
No, you don't.
And the Cardinals competed for the wild card this year.
Yeah, I know. But I think that my point is that they're okay with as kind of the plan. They're okay with dropping below, being in contention for the wild card for a year or two, if it means that they're winning the division in year 3, 4, 5, 6. If they're competing to win the division in year 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
The eye is absolutely on 4, 5, 6, 7. Bill DeWitt Jr. told me a story one time that after a tough loss, and I think they might have been down a player, he walked into to Tony La Russa's office and says, I know you're upset about losing this game. Tony said, yep, I am. And he said, well, I get it, and I appreciate that you are concerned about every single game, and you need to win every single game, because Tony is a guy, as you know, that had to have a W or an L next to his name every single night. But DeWitt told him, he said, look, I'm not only thinking about tonight, I'm thinking about 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And that's where the Cardinals are right now. They're thinking about 3, 4, 5 years down the road. Not that they're tanking, not that they're saying, yeah, we want to lose these games, because that doesn't do them any good. But the big picture is to make sure that they are ready to go and win in 27, maybe if there's a season, 28, 29. So while the prudent winning thing might be to play somebody else in right field rather than Jordan Walker at the beginning of next season, the winning play for the long term is to find out whether or not he can do it for you, because the limitations. Like Nathan Church, you can play Nathan Church and he'll give you some production, but Walker has an upside. So you play the guys that have the upside and find out whether or not they're able to reach their potential.
What did Church end up doing in the Major League Baseball? We had a lot of chatters in who were pushing for Church, and when I had the audacity to question a 26-year-old, 25-year-old jumping like 400 points of OPS out of nowhere, I questioned whether that could carry over. Mm-hmm. He had a 504 OPS in 65 plate appearances in Major League Baseball.
504?
504 OPS.
That's not so great, man.
No, I think maybe give him more chance, though. You're right. Why not give some of these players a chance, even if you think it might be a long shot? Maybe if you're not the biggest fan of those players, I like, why not give Jose Fermin a chance?
Well, because he doesn't have the upside.
Oh, okay.
If a player has physical upside that you believe he can reach, I think it's smarter to play that guy and say, okay, I hope that if he plays, he can reach this level, because if I play the other guy, I know what his absolute limitations are, and it's not going to be what I need to help me get to a World Series eventually.
While we're talking about that third base spot with Arenado and everything, there was a tweet that Katie Wu put out, or an article, I should say, on The Athletic, and she said two of four players, two of a group of four will get traded. In the group of four,
Gorman and Nootbaar.
In the group of four was Gorman, Nootbaar, Donovan,
Here.
and Burley.
Here.
And but my thing is that why phrase it as the group of four?
Four left-handed hitters.
But like
and you've got Weatherholt on the way.
But we all know, those are four very different hitters, and they all four of those guys had very different seasons. So it's interesting to me that Katie Wu was saying two of these four, when it's like, okay, yeah, but the argument for trading all four of those players are wildly different arguments.
Right. But I think they've gone as far down the road with Lars Nootbaar as they can go. And I think they have made the determination, because of the fluctuation in performance, that Nolan Gorman is not going to be the consistent performer that they hoped that he would become. You've already seen consistency. You know what you're going to get out of Alec Burleson. You've already seen consistency. You know what you're going to get out of Brendan Donovan. And what baseball managers want, and what baseball general managers want more than anything, is players that post, who will go to bat, and they'll be there available for you most of the time. And they want guys who are reasonably consistent. And one thing we can say about Nootbaar is that he doesn't post. He's not there all the time. And what we can say about Nolan Gorman is that he's not consistent.
And that's my thing, is I'm with you 100% that those two are the ones going out there. I just couldn't help but look away from her grouping, from Katie Wu grouping them together.
I think it's,
like they're like, and I guess the thought process is, well, they'll put out the feeler and see what a guy like Alec Burleson, who may, is that the ceiling of Alec Burleson we just saw? Does that mean it's a smart idea to dangle him out there and see what you can get? Same thing with Brendan Donovan. We've talked ad nauseum about his value, arbitration coming up, so on and so forth. Does it make sense to tangle him out there and see what the return can be? And maybe that's why she's still throwing them out there in the same group.
Donovan,
that's what it jumped out to me.
Donovan is an elite defensive performer, Gold Glove caliber second baseman. Burleson is a really good hitter. Who is your future left fielder? He's not going to play center field. He's probably not going to play right field. Victor Scott is going to get another opportunity in center. Walker is going to get another opportunity in right. You don't know about Arenado right now. You're hoping that you can move him, but you do know that Wynn and Donovan are going to be on the infield, and Contreras probably will. So JJ Weatherholt is going to be here. So there really isn't room at the inn for either Gorman or Lars Nootbaar.
Michael Holtz, Helen Mark here on the YouTube chat. I thought Bloom did a good job yesterday. I just really hope they can find a way to shake up the team. I know they won't hire any big free agents, but maybe some diamonds in the rough. This team is stale. Chaim Bloom, after the press conference in the media scrum, did admit that they were probably going to sign a starting pitcher in free agency.
Yeah.
Him saying just one is probably him holding his cards back, because I would guess that they sign like three.
And it's not going to be Dylan Cease.
No, God, no.
Who, by the way, is pitching today for the Padres. Did
you watch any playoff baseball?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw Shohei Ohtani hit a couple.
Good God Almighty!
Isn't he something?
He's the greatest baseball player I've ever seen with my two eyes.
He's amazing,
it's unbelievable.
And how about Fried and Crochet?
Yeah, that was an absolute.
How the Cardinals didn't trade for Garrett Crochet last offseason. I just don't know.
The fact that game happened while the day after we were talking about that did kind of make me laugh. I was like, yeah, okay, that'll happen. You'll catch an L every once in a while. I get it. That happens. He was absolutely insane. The Yankees Red Sox game was wild.
Yeah, it was. I love it.
I hate watching Aroldis Chapman be good at baseball. I'll just say that right now.
He's a Hall of Famer. I was thinking about this last night. Don't you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I mean, yeah, I guess. Can we go back to the era where we don't put in relievers? Just for like a year or two?
I think that if you are the best at your position over an extended period of time, that you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, regardless of what your position is. The people that run the sport put the positions of DH and closer in there.
What about my position is that you guys are yelling at me too much when I hit women? or threaten them with guns.
Well,
what if that's my position?
Yeah, that's a reasonable position to take.
No.
But you also then have to
hate
come
this.
to grips with Ty Cobb being in
Yeah,
in the
monster.
Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, not a good person.
Yeah, and so
But we
where do you
didn't
draw the
have
line?
videos from Ty Cobb being a complete POS. Like, we have the police video from the surveillance camera of him shooting the gun in his garage.
Yeah.
So I feel like when you have the proof in the moment and you see it, it does make it a little different.
But he was shooting it into the ceiling.
That's fair. Okay.
People do that all the time.
Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
So, but here's a guy with a career earned run average of 2.52 in 16 years. He has 367 saves. They signed him for next year, so he's got a chance to get to 400 saves. He also was a starter. You know what? He was a starter in the minors. I didn't realize this. He has never started a game in the major leagues.
Well, that's actually insane.
Yeah, they considered that. So that's interesting.
I remember. Yeah, I remember when they were throwing out there as a possibility. I was excited and terrified.
Yeah. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me see, his K per 9 career is 14.6, which is right there at the top of the all-time list.
Pretty good. Yeah, he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Damn it.
So you're upset about that, huh?
I think it's fair. I think that's fair on my part.
What do you think? Aroldis Chapman, Hall of Famer?
I think you're right that he's a Hall of Famer. I think it's fair that I'm miffed by that.
Okay. Career strikeouts per 9.
You're just going to drive the point home more, aren't you?
Trying to.
All right.
He doesn't have enough innings.
Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't surprise me, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess there's not a lot
But still,
of relievers who do have enough
so
innings.
let me get
yeah.
you.
What's the best ever first starter?
Let me get it for you here. Hold on. Strikeouts per 9. And these are okay.
I got Chapman's number for you. I
his
have his career number.
14.6.
Yes, it is. Jesus.
And so yeah, that's going to be. And I think the leader among starters is like 12. Is it Blake Snell here?
It's a good sign that
Blake Snell at 11.19.
I think it's a good sign that you can do things different ways, because you know what Mariano Rivera's strikeout per 9 is off the top of your head? 8.2.
How about that? So among people that are qualified, Blake Snell is number 1 all time at 11.19. The top 5 all time are active. Snell, Chris Sale, Dylan Cease, Robbie Ray, Jacob deGrom. Number 6 is Randy Johnson at 10.6. Then Scherzer, and then Strasburg at 10.5. Darvish, Cole, Wood, Kerry Wood, and Pedro at 10.03, and then everybody else is below 10. And Chapman is at 14.06. Okay.
We got a couple pieces of news to get to here before Fighting Illini head coach Bret Bielema joins us here on the Randy Karraker Show featuring Brooke Grimsley. So one of the things I want to get to is St. Louisan Napheesa Collier did her exit interview for the Minnesota Lynx yesterday, or I guess it was 2 days ago now. And she had some very choice words to say. Specifically, it was about a 4-minute long clip that was posted all over X. I just clipped off a short part. This is her talking about the Caitlin Clark anecdote she has with the commissioner of the WNBA, and also some other comments the WNBA made.
As you watch this, if you're watching in addition to listening, it would have been very nice if Napheesa would have spoken from her heart.
At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us.
I mean, the combination of those 3 quotes from WNBA commissioner, only losers complain about the officiating when there's been a lot of complaints across the league.
Everybody complains in the WNBA about the officiating.
She needs to thank us because she wouldn't be making $16 million without this platform.
So
and
by the
players
way,
need to get down on their knees and
Yeah.
thank their lucky stars.
And shouldn't the commissioner be on her knees thanking her lucky stars before the altar?
How the hell do you have a job, lady? Like,
Yeah,
the players are the reason you're here.
Exactly. And especially those three that Napheesa Collier, the incarnate word product from St. Louis, mentioned. It's Caitlin Clark, it's Angel Reese, it's Paige Beckers, and and I have no reason to believe that is not accurate. If those quotes from the league commissioner are accurate, the league commissioner should be fired today.
Absolutely, 100%. And that is Kathy Engelbert, and some other quotes from Napheesa Collier in that exit interview where she went scorched earth, quote unquote. We have the worst leadership in the world, calling it a lack of accountability from the league office. And Napheesa Collier, if you guys don't know, obviously incarnate word, Academy graduate, UConn player. Gino Auriemma has glowing things to say about her, and also she has been the back-to-back runner-up MVP behind Aisha Wilson both of the last 2 years.
Yeah, it's the league's in trouble, and I would guess that there will be some people, including Kathy Engelbert, that are saying, "Wait, Napheesa, you're starting your own league. You're the founder of your own league. You want me to fail." But I don't believe that that's the case. I have a tendency to side with the player on this, and a very intelligent player in regards to what Kathy Engelbert said. She's probably one of those people that, and I don't know anything about her, that probably thinks that, okay, the players are below me because I'm the commissioner. And it's a bad move on her part, especially when you have a singular person in your league that has lifted it to previously unknown heights. And we saw that it's a real thing because the ratings dropped off dramatically when Caitlin Clark got hurt this year. So if there's one person in the WNBA that nobody should mess with, and by the way, the commissioner should take every precaution to protect, it's Caitlin Clark. She is the essence of the golden goose.
And obviously, when a big deal there, but we do need to throw out some little bit of credit because she did also mention her husband, who is the CEO of Unrivaled, but also, if you guys don't know, Napheesa Collier is married to Alex Basil, who is from St. Charles, Missouri. He's from St. Charles West, and played at Lindenwood as well. Played basketball at Lindenwood. Yeah. So the St. Louis couple that is between Napheesa and Alex Basil, because she mentioned him as well. She goes, he does an incredible job, and I asked him how he focuses on these things as the CEO of Unrivaled, and obviously he takes it a very different tact than Kathy Engelbert's taking, and so it's interesting the perspective she has as somebody who, again, does run a league and who is married to somebody who is the CEO of that league. And again, a guy who's well known around here in the St. Louis area.
Yeah. And I was conflating Alex with Drew Hanlon, who's one of the top. He played at Webster. And is one of the top skills coaches.
The fact that you though had St. Charles West in your, like, you knew as soon as I said the name and you reorganized, you're like, I remember what high school he went to.
I did their games.
You did their games. And of course, obviously a fellow Lindenwood Lion.
Yeah. And just my opinion here, I think that every college coach, and I get that size is important and getting your own shot is important. There are so many 5'11" guys that can just shoot the daylights out of the three. And I don't think they get a fair shot at the NBA level. Or not the NBA, but the Division I college level.
I want to see it. I'm sure they had some battles. I want to see a trainer battle between Hanlon and Basil. Because I know because obviously as the Alex has moved on from being a trainer with a lot of different NBA players or WNBA players and NBA players, I believe, to running Unrivaled. I think he does still do some training.
I think he still works with Napheesa.
Does he? I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, why wouldn't you? Especially when you're right at home. You got the leader, one of the leaders of the MVP voting in the last 2 years. By the way, 3 years ago, she was also behind Asia Wilson, but Asia Wilson finished 4th and she finished 5th. She needs to just, the fact that she has one of the greatest players ever just literally stuck in front of her in the MVP race in the last 3 years is unfortunate and unfair, but Asia Wilson's amazing. And Napheesa now, if you know anything about her family history, long history of activism in her family, going back to her grandfather, who was famous for being a UN ambassador and also helping. He helped establish the independence of Sierra Leone.
Really?
Her grandpa. Yeah. Gino, there's a great piece on Gino Auriemma talks about how you can tell, like, all the lessons that she learned from a family that has been so active for so long across the generations. Her dad was very active and things like that. So when you have somebody like her who has seen that in her entire life, that they're going to step up. And so, yeah, so her grandfather, Gershon Collier, was a lawyer in Sierra Leone, former ambassador to the United Nations, ambassador to the United States, and was part of the people who helped gain their independence from the United Kingdom in 1961. That's so pretty cool story.
Yeah, I just sent you an email, by the way. If we could put a little piece of a little photo up on our screen here, because we want you to see it. Since we are talking about the WNBA, it's important that you learn things like this. Bret Bielema, the head coach of the Fighting Illini, is coming up momentarily, and tomorrow.
I know what picture this is.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
We just want you folks to see this, because
I can't get it up on this computer, but I'm gonna.
Okay.
We'll have Wilson get it up here in a second.
Okay, we'll get that up.
As we're doing that, we need to talk about one other thing. You guys might have seen this. Today, because it hit a few hours ago. Adam Schefter was talking about it. We have Shedeur Sanders was asked today, because if you guys didn't see, the Browns have made a big move. They are benching Joe Flacco, and they're going with a rookie quarterback. And so obviously Shedeur Sanders is really excited. He's going to get in front of the podium and talk about it, because it was Dylan Gabriel as the rookie quarterback that has been given the job. And here was Sanders when he was asked about that at Browns media availability earlier today. Eventually, it's going to load. Sorry about this.
I'm really sad that we're taking so long to hear this audio.
I'm not sure why it's not loading. We might be having an issue here. That's a bummer. So bottom line,
well, you'll find it.
Yeah, bottom line, it's not popping up here on anybody, but you can find it on Twitter. Bottom line, Shedeur Sanders was miming his answers,
and the story is at the front page of ESPN.com. And he was having fun. He thought that he was being serious, but it just makes me feel like he's not taking the idea of being an NFL quarterback seriously. And I hope that, and one of the reasons that we heard, I don't know Shedeur Sanders at all, but one of the reasons that you heard that he dropped in the draft is because he is immature. And this certainly appeared to be an immature move on his part.
By the way, this is the picture that Randy wanted us to get up.
There you go. There's Sophie Cunningham showing up for a playoff game.
Showing up for the playoff game in a Blues jersey. And God, I love those new Blues jerseys. They're fantastic. And here, I think
that's a really good looking jersey on her.
I think we finally got it to work. Here was Shedeur Sanders today at Browns media availability.
What can you say?
He's miming.
So, guys, the audio of that isn't screwed up. The reason you can hear kind of the reporters, but you're getting nothing from Shedeur Sanders when he answers, is because Shedeur Sanders was miming his answers. He's moving his mouth, he's moving his hands, but there's nothing actually coming out because he's a crazy person.
Well, he might just be immature. I don't know if he's crazy, but he just needs to grow into that role.
It's insane, but how? I don't know how. Listen, I don't like the push that a lot of people get to work, which is, hey, I gotta put money on. I gotta put food on the table. I gotta have some money, or else it's all gonna dry up pretty fast if I'm not working.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like when you don't have that, you act different. That's all I'm gonna say.
And he did say last week, Shedeur said, if you see the quarterback play in the league right now, I know I'm capable of doing better than that. Well, I'm telling you, if you would have been worthy of being the number one pick in the draft, you would have been the number one pick in the draft. And if you are one of the 32 best, there aren't even 32 quarterbacks that are of NFL starting quality in the world. So if you are capable of it, if you are better than Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel, and you show it on the practice field, they are going to play you.
And here's the thing. Skywalker 1982 says Deion was very smart and savvy too. Here's the thing. Deion was right when he did these things. Shedeur's not. If Deion would have pulled this and been like, what are you going to do? Not play me because I'm the best athlete you have. He was right. In any situation like that, Deion would have been 100% correct. Shedeur isn't. That's like, I'm sorry, but like, there's not a lot of like the talent rises to the top of the NFL. Well, these stories of guys who were like, no, I had tons of talent, but the NFL just wouldn't let me become good. Vontaze Burfict kept getting jobs. Antonio Brown kept getting jobs. People will find a way if you have the talent, whoever you are.
And is there a position in the NFL? I guess the question would be for me, are there two more disparate positions than cornerback and quarterback in terms of being able to walk in and play and not really have to have a playbook, just go in and use your instincts and your athletic ability, as opposed to quarterback? Cornerback, you can walk in and do it. Quarterback, you've got to learn how to do it. And you have to be a leader, and you have to be somebody who is kind of the liaison between your offensive players and the coach. There's a lot that goes into being a quarterback that includes being the face of the franchise.
Johnny Manziel learned that.
Yep.
Can't just wing it anymore.
Another Cleveland guy.
Cannot wing it at this level.
No. Hey, Missouri, get ready. The wait is almost over. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State, and you can sign up today. New Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when we go live. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and has fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live December 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Good to have you with us on the Randy Karraker Show, presented by DraftKings on STL Sports Central. And it's always a pleasure to visit with the head coach of the Fighting Illini, Bret Bielema. Coach, thanks so much for your time. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. We just finished our Wednesday practice. We actually Tuesday and Wednesday probably our two biggest workloads. So the hay's in the barn after this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll do a little really situational football, all phases of the kicking game, kind of a shine and polish on the whole week, and then have a little bit of a walkthrough Friday, and then we got a quick 90-mile ride over to Purdue for a trophy game.
And that'll be fun. It's always good to take on Purdue, and our former head coach at Mizzou, Barry Odom. I know you know Barry very well, so that'll be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm just concerned I say our coach, but yes, absolutely. I think
in the state is what we're talking about.
I got you. Well, I would tell you, got tremendous respect for Barry. Obviously, I've known him a long time. Ironically, last year when he was making a run at UNLV, I reached out to him several times. Just think the world of him and his abilities, and obviously excited for his new opportunity. But I wasn't excited to have it be one of our rivalry games. Very, very, very good football coach, and the guy's done a lot of good things.
Hey, Coach, I know you've talked ad nauseum about last week, but I just want to ask you how proud you were of your group. Not only the adversity that you dealt with during the game, but the adversity your kids dealt with heading into that game. Man, there were a lot of things going against them, and they came back and pulled out a big win. Yeah,
I'm excited about our group. I've been around these guys, several guys for multiple years, but the world of college football that we know right now, I brought these guys in January. We always start classes the Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day, and it's kind of our start of our year, even though January 1st is for everybody else. We start our season there. Had the majority, probably about 75% of our roster on campus at that time, and then we added a few more guys in June and July. But when we walked in, we had over 40 new guys coming into fall camp that had never been with us for a season before. So college football is just so dramatically different, but I like the character of this room and of my staff as well. So just a lot of really good positive things to lean on.
Obviously a huge win over USC. What was the big thing that week leading into USC? Because obviously you don't have the game you wanted to have the week before, and another big game coming up, new conference rival, everybody's ranked. What was the mindset? How did you guys lock in for that game and get the result you did?
Matt, this is my 17th year as a head coach, and one thing I quickly learned in this business, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, right? That game is behind you and you need to move on. Obviously, this game was a tremendous challenge, been on our radar for a long time. USC is a really good football team. The way it worked out, obviously, we had just lost Indiana. They were coming off a couple of wins that they've earned and put themselves. They beat Michigan State to have their first Big Ten game, but also Purdue on the road, right? So they had 2 Big Ten games under their belt and see exactly where they were. But I liked our crew. I liked the way they matched up. I thought our game plan was really good. To be honest, we played fairly well on both sides of the ball. Gave up some uncharacteristic things in the second half defensively. Offensively, gave up 2 scoring opportunities on inside the 5 fumbles, right? So a lot of things that we did well, but a lot of things we got to get corrected to move into this week.
Brett, how do you feel about where your running game is right now?
Well, I think, bottom line, we have 3 guys that we feel can carry the ball that I think have shown during the course of the first, 5 games here that they can do that. Offensive line at times has been a huge part of our success. But as we pointed out, they got to perform every week and got to do it at a high level. But what people don't realize, how well we throw the ball factors into the run game, how well we can protect our passer factors into the run game. What we can do on manageable early downs is a big part of it. So tying that all in together and putting together, I've always said this, good teams can do 3 things: run the ball, defend the run, and cover kicks. For us to be able to do what we want to do as a team, we got to be able to do those 3 things.
Well, we're talking about the offense. I need to get in my big question, which is against Duke, we get the fake double reverse that goes for a touchdown. And just this past weekend against USC, we obviously get the Philly special that we get for a touchdown or something that was akin to the Philly special, as we all like to call it now. I also noticed 2 plays before you guys run the Philly special, I believe it looked like a halfback pass was forming that was tucked and ran, or maybe he was just faking the defense out. Bottom line, the offense is getting fun. The trickeration is already out early in the schedule. I know you're a defensive guy, so when your offensive coordinator comes with you with these kind of plays and things like that, especially early in the season, what's your mindset on those kind of big trick plays?
Well, I give a lot of credit to Barry Lunny, our OC, and not just him, but our staff. But also, I tell our coaches all the time, like, hey, let's maximize our roster, right? And to maximize our roster means let players do what they do well. If there's any unique skill sets they have, Hank Beatty, who you mentioned, obviously on the Philly special there to Luke, he was a high school quarterback, did some good things in that regards. He's a guy that is very dynamic with the ball in his hand. So anything we can do there. Caden Fagan, ironically, was a high school quarterback as well. A lot of people don't realize that, but he's a guy that played the quarterback position in high school. So really just maximizing them. And then I think in today's world with kids the way they are today, like anything you can engage, your base offense, whatever that ends up being, right? But also to throw in some nuances and to keep a defense at bay. And then I'm a former defensive coordinator, kind of like Barry Odom. Both of us have a background on defense where, if you see something once, you're going to believe that you're going to see it 20 times in that game, right? And you just have to prepare for that and put yourself in a position. And I really like the way that our offense has been creative. But I think I saw the other day that through our last 9 games, we're averaging almost 35 points a game. And from today's world in college football to be able to have that stat, Barry Lundy's done a hell of a job for us.
If you don't mind taking us into the situational side from both as a head coach and as a defensive coordinator, when you have those big, misdirection or trick plays, however you want to describe them, how do you go about deciding to use them, early in the season? You're leading against Duke when you guys go into your bag for that play. It's a big game against USC, but you still have some pretty big games later on in the season coming up. How do you balance showing those kind of plays early in games or early in the season versus keeping them in your back pocket?
First off, I'm a defensive coach by nature, so I learned a long time ago, right? There's the basic element to every defensive play: cutback, boot, reverse, right? And a lot of us in my generation of coaches knew defense that way. You couldn't design a defense unless you had those principles. So I really ask us to have that, but also on the offensive side of it, if anything that challenges those rules usually has a chance to be successul, right? You got to have an element to how a play is defended on every call, not just a magical call to help you in certain situations. I always, make reference to early on in my career. I remember I was coming out of the back end of 2 overtime games that we lost. And one of the questions I asked my OC at the time was, hey, what about all these plays, these fun gadget plays that I see you run, right? And they have a lot of success. And in the rhetorical question I got back, well, what if they don't work? I said, well, I promise you, none of the ones you never call never work, right? So I do know that to be reality. So it allows our guys, you don't run things like that you don't expect to have success. You certainly don't run them with the hope of a failure, right? So again, it's just right time, right place, right moment, and see what can happen.
Coach Bielema, you're getting ready for your sixth game here. I guess it's week 7, but your sixth game. And you mentioned earlier bringing in about 40 new players. How different is it now in terms of knowing your team's personality as opposed to when you were at Wisconsin? Because I feel like as a fan, I don't know what to expect. Do you feel like you know what to expect from your team or other teams?
At this point, very good point. We're a 4-1 football team that has done some really good things, right? And we're getting ready to go into game 6. It's just, I think a little bit more accelerated you have to be as a coach. Like you have to be a little bit more engaged with your players. You got to be able to hear what they're saying to you, even though they may not say it. Like, what do their actions tell you? What's their confidence level? What's their ability to handle moments that they haven't been in before? So there's a little bit of that. But I just think it's really cool. Before I came here, I was in the NFL for 3 years. And in that league, there's roster transition, as you know, within the season even, right, with trades and free agency and all that goes into it. So it really gave me a perspective I'd never seen before in college football. And it's really helped me into the moment we're at now, right? It's a different day and age where you kind of just prepare for each year to be that year. I should say in college, we don't have free agency in the season right now, but I have a hard time believing within the next 5 years there may be some elements of guys training, changing possibly within a season, just as crazy as that sounds. There's obviously an academic element that puts up a lot of roadblocks, but it's just a different world. It's really fun time, I think, even for fans. I think within our conference, you'll see guys, we got a punter for us, Keelan Crimmins, who last year was Purdue's punter, right? And he's going over for a game over there at a rivalry game. Last year, he was on the other side of it, right? And we're going to have the same thing a couple weeks down the road when we play Wisconsin. We have several players, 3 of our defensive guys that play a lot of snaps for us that were on Wisconsin's roster last year. It's just insanity at its best, but it is what it is, and that's what college football is now.
And looking at a player that you had for multiple years, Luke Altmaier, one of the big things last year, he cut his interception percentage in half, and this year still has yet to throw an interception. I know you guys, first 3 games, no turnovers. The last 2, you did have an interception on another play and 2 fumbles. But how big has Luke Altmaier's play, and obviously not throwing any picks so far?
Just Luke and his demeanor. He's so confident in what he does. I think he has a really good understanding of who he is. He owns who he is really, really well. And now I got coaches, Barry Lunny and Art Sikowski, my 2 main quarterback guys, offensive coordinator. They've been around into him now his 3rd year as well. They know his strengths and they try to minimize his weaknesses. I think the part that really has brought Luke to the forefront is he just has a group of players around him that are very, very confident. I know going into that USC 2-minute drive at the end of the game, ironically, we didn't throw any passes or have a big a play in the passing game as we had thought. He dropped back and ran a quarterback draw, put some variation to it. Again, that's just everybody thought he was going to go out there and wing it all around, and we stuck with some inside run game and a draw play that ended up being very beneficial. We got the ball advanced all the way down to hit a very makeable kick, and we never had to throw the ball. So there's a lot of things that factor into it. But Luke, I would say when he's engaged, when he's on time and in rhythm, he's a very, very good football player.
How is Cardinal Ritter's Carson Boyd looking in practice? How has he impressed you?
St. Louis area has just been so good to us. Carson he's a really solid 3 quarterback, but is a guy going into. He came here last year in January. Just super impressed with him as a true freshman coming in spring. This fall really began to take some more steps. Really, really kind of fun to watch. We have 2 guys on the offensive line that start from East St. Louis. I know that's on the other side, but they're St. Louis guys through and through. They love where they're from and what they represent. So two guys right by each other, my right guard and right tackle, and then JoJo is a guy that has really continued to another East St. Louis kid that is playing a lot of snaps for us, not only on defense but on special teams. So we've got a really good group. We've continued to hit that area really hard. I can't comment on certain things in recruiting. It's been going very well for us in that area that I'm super excited, not just for us now, but in the future as well.
I'll say I had the pleasure of calling East St. Louis's game this past Friday. I got another ones coming up this next few weekends. My son Johnson Cook is an absolute monster. I know there's a lot of Big Ten teams in on him, but I know you guys are in on him as well. There's some other players there with some Illinois offers that I got the pleasure to watch. And if that's where you're pulling from, keep up the good work, Coach.
We're super excited. I think the part that has been really fun for me here at Illinois, year 5, the large majority of our offensive, defensive, and special teams production has come from Illinois. We have 2 running back, Caden Fagan and Aiden Lawfrey, who are literally within 30 minutes of Champaign. Hank Beatty, who's really taken college football by the storm, is one of the most productive players in all of college football, all-purpose punt returns as a receiver. He's thrown a pass now as a touchdown. He's from Rochester, which is, Springfield, Illinois, literally about an hour away from our campus. I think all great organizations are built from within, right? And I think to have this many players from our roster from the state of Illinois or in the surrounding 5-hour radius to Champaign has made this probably been the biggest difference in making our program what it is today.
All right. One last quick thing, Coach. What's your favorite headgear behind you? You got some beautiful helmets and hats there.
I would say the underline Illinois, just because that was kind of the era that I participated in and saw. I do like the script that we ran in the bowl game. I'm old school arching, but I would tell you the old school 100-year anniversary game, just because it was a 100-year anniversary game. A lot went into that game, but that helmet, brought a lot of great memories back to a lot of special Illinois fans. Obviously the day that Red Grange had was 100 years ago to the day almost, but to play for us currently, to have all that nostalgia, but then to play a ranked Michigan team who was coming off a defending national champ, Game 7 at home, and to have it play out the way it did we created a memory that day that lasts a lifetime. It's one thing to get wins, and those wins are great, but when you create memories, that's when you build a fan base. That's when you build a place that people are proud of day in and day out, and I think that's what we're building here, and it's a lot of fun.
Hey, your team is fun to watch, and if you want to be our coach here on the Randy Karraker Show, you're welcome to be our coach.
I appreciate it. It just kind of rolled out of you, so I was going to point that out to you, Randy. I just having a little fun.
All right, love you. See you. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. ILL.
There it is, a little INI for Coach Bielema there. Bret Bielema joining us. Thank you so much to Coach, and obviously they have a very big game against Purdue this weekend, and it should be a big one for them.
Looking forward to that. Plenty to talk about tomorrow as well. Thanks to Wilson for getting us on the air. Great job, as always, by Matthew Rocchio. And don't forget all of the great programming here at STL Sports Central. You can see Bernie's video every day, and we have different items. We're always popping up. What you need to do is subscribe to our newsletter and then like this YouTube channel so that you get the notifications when something else is coming up, like this video, the Randy Karraker Show. Follow us on all the socials, and we can't wait to have you with us on STL Sports Central, presented by DraftKings for everybody. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.